Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski fight is off for UFC 272. In this video, I break down the options for what shouldn't happen and what could possibly be next for this card and those fighters. This is your boy JG, exaggeration and experience, all things MMA. Let's go. Like I said before, y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is your boy JG, all things MMA, exaggeration, experience. Let's get right into it. In case you have not heard, Max Holloway, undisclosed injury, had to pull out from UFC 272, scheduled for Saturday, March 5th, leaving Alexander Volkanovski without a dance partner. I want to get into the options right now. Henry Cejudo is not an option. Shout out to Henry Cejudo, shoot. I seen him on Twitter. You know, talking about Dana has my number. Dana deleted your number. Dana's not checking for you like that. So shout out to you, Henry Cejudo. Keep working with Zhang. Keep working with John Jones and running your gym and giving cats wrestling lessons or limited boxing, whatever it is you're teaching people. You keep doing that. And shout out to the UFC. Shout out to Dana White. Don't entertain that nonsense because we're not checking for any of that. Now, let's get into the options. Within the division at 145 pounds, you're very limited. The first name that came to my mind was Giga Chikadze, but he's scheduled to fight Calvin Kattar 7 days from now, right? With that being said, here's what you could do. You could wait and see. Let's say Giga just blows Calvin Kattar away, just destroys him. Comes out of the bout relatively healthy. He's won, I think, 7 or 8 in a row, maybe 9 in a row. Puts himself in a position to fill that spot at the UFC 272 in March. With that being said, though, considering you have Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan as your presumptuous, or your, I'm assuming would be the co-main, I don't think the Chikadze-Volkanovski fight would get main event headlines. So you bump that down. It's still a great fight on a great card. You elevate Sterling versus Yan, and you still have that card intact for the most part. That's if Alexander Volkanovski is determined to fight. Another option would be, within division, is just say, okay, scrap the fight, elevate the co-main, and then reschedule it because you really want to see the trilogy between Max Holloway and Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. So you could do that. Now, March, because it's January 8th, they have time to see what happens. Here's another thought that I had. What if you entertain the idea of bringing up a 35er to fill the spot? Now, at the top of the 35-pound division, you have notable names, like guys with clout, guys with following. I think number 2 ranked right now in the division, number 2 or 3, I believe, Jose Aldo, to come up and fight Alexander Volkanovski. Now, the only problem with that is they've already met. And Volkanovski, with his fighting style, really shut Aldo out. He mounted no offense, got brutalized, got punched around, and it just didn't go his way. That's not to say that it would happen now. He has some data and some information on Volkanovski, but that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Do you think about a guy like TJ Dillashaw? Maybe, maybe not. The thing about, he's coming off surgery, tough fight against Sandhagen. He's been quiet ever since then. We know Yan and Sterling's not an option, right? Because they're about to fight for the belt. So who else is down there that you can't even think about? I said Dillashaw. I mean, does Sandhagen want to fight at 45? Just somebody to test themselves against Alexander Volkanovski. These are some of the options that are available. Because like I mentioned before, at 145 pounds, it's extremely limited. And after you get past Chikadze, because I think Brian Ortega is still ranked pretty high. Once you get past Chikadze, it's Edson Barbosa, Korean Zombie, a couple other cats, guys that I just don't feel like who are really in a position to vie for any title, 45 or 35 pound division. And so I think what the UFC is looking at is kind of a limited scale of what they can do to save this particular bout, or if Volkanovski is determined to fight in March, what they could end up doing. I think their best case scenario is going to end up being waiting on the Calvin Kattar, Chikadze decision, see what happens in that fight. That's in a week, 7 days from today. Or bringing up an Aldo, even though we've already seen it, or maybe a Sandhagen up, elevate those guys to 45 to see if they want to challenge for a belt against Volkanovski. But that's how I see it shaking out. Regardless, 272, March 5th, Saturday, it's still going to be a dope card. I look forward to it. I'm probably gonna put out. I'm gonna see how the rest of the card fills out, and then I'm gonna probably put out a couple more videos, offer some predictions on what I see taking place for that particular card. But I wanted to do a quick video right now to kind of discuss what the options were for Volkanovski. Wish best Max Holloway, speedy recovery. And because you can't get Chikanze or Cater. Oh, I want to go back. Let's say Cater comes out here and just elbows Giga in the face and gets him out in round 1. I would not be opposed to seeing him fight for a belt against Alexander Volkanovski. That would not bother me one bit. He's fought Murderers Row. I mentioned that in my last video. His last 4 fights have been all against killers. Go ahead and Google that for Calvin Cater. He's come up short in some. The Zabit fight was much closer than people realize. I mean, I think if you check around, some cats might say that, Calvin Cater pulled that off, but Zabit was the favorite, and he had a lot of momentum at the time. Obviously, we know he destroyed my man Jeremy Stevens, had the tough outing against Max Holloway, and Dan Inge was in there. But Calvin Cater is the stylistic type of fighter. He seems quiet, but he has good shit talk, and he's an all action dude. So if he put himself in a position and stopped Giga fantastically and took little to no damage, just like Chikanze would be himself, I think Calvin Cater, if he can get that done next week, he can put himself in a position to fight March 5th for that belt. But we'll see what happens. Like I said before, the other options are bringing one of the top 2 or 3 guys, not Jan, not Sterling, up from 35 to vie for the belt. Jose Aldo used to run the division at 145 pounds, lost twice to Holloway, lost to Volkanovski, so we know that. We'll see what happens. But this is your boy JG, Exaggeration Experience. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are, what the options could possibly be. Do they shelve the bout, they bring up a 35er, or they wait it out for Calvin Cater and Giga Chikanze to get it done and say, hey, do you want to fight for this belt? And then match into it down the road, or do you just save the whole thing? But this is your boy JG. Like, subscribe, bell icon for notification. This is an Exaggeration Experience, all things MMA. Appreciate the love. We out.